And we are live now. We're going to start our show, The Best of Investing. And see, I have the little thing up here. Yeah.
I noticed that.
Pretty cool, huh?
Very professional.
All right. Nice. Okay. And away we go. Welcome. You're listening to The Best of Investing. I'm your host, Edward Brown, along with my co-host, Nam Phan of Pacific Private Money and Patty Cohen of Compass Realty. Our phone number is 888-912-1190. Use that number to answer the trivia questions for a 5-pack tanning certificate given away during this show. And that'd make a nice little Christmas gift for someone. It's worth over $100.
Oh, that's awesome.
The certificate's not sponsored by the radio station, but by Tan Bella Tanning Salon with 2 locations in San Francisco and 1 in Marin. Today's trivia theme is completely random trivia questions. Okay,
Nice.
right, like that. And I want to make a mention here again for Go Girl. Have you ever had that drink?
No.
It's an energy drink that is, they say drink for the taste, drink for the cause, because they give a certain amount to breast cancer.
Nice.
It actually tastes really good. It's got only like 5 grams of sugar in it. Doesn't give you the crash afterward. It gives you a lot of energy. Check them out.
Wow.
You can go to like different grocery stores and called Go Girl Energy Drink.
And is it kind of like a shake thing, or is it really thin? Like, what's the calories?
I think
it's like 5.
5
yeah,
total.
it's like a kind of like a Red Bullish type drink, right? It's kind of like
yeah,
or
exactly.
soda or something
Yeah,
like that.
but,
Oh, that
but,
sounds
but it
great.
tastes a lot better, and it doesn't
Yeah.
have it doesn't have the sugar. It doesn't have the
Sounds
crash.
great.
So
I'm
I
writing
got
that down.
both my
Go Girl,
stocking
yeah.
stuffers.
That's
done.
right. Yeah.
Tan Bella Salon
And,
and
Go
Girl
Shop,
Can.
shop.
Exactly.
Sweet.
All right, now Patty, you've got some very interesting news for us about what's going on with Compass Realty.
Yeah, there's a lot of good things that we are offering consumers. So for years and decades, since the beginning of time, one of the biggest challenges that most sellers face is I've got to sell my house before I buy something else. What if I don't find something? How is that going to happen? When is my house going to sell? I've already fell in love with this house and I can't buy unless I sell mine. Will the seller of the place that I'm about to go to take a contingency sale? And most of the time the answer is no,
No.
because then they puts them in the same position. So it's really a common problem, and very few people have the means to do that.
Yeah.
To buy something, and many people do, but a lot of people don't.
Yeah.
So it's just kind of like standing on the edge of a cliff and jumping, really, honestly, for people. It's their emotions. It's their home. Am I going to own 2 homes? Am I going to own no homes? Am I going to be
Right.
homeless? So now Compass, the company I work for, is offering bridge loans. And bridge loans can be very challenging to qualify for, and all of it can be very challenging. We're making it very easy. So the points and the fees and the cost of the bridge loan do not have to be paid during the time that the house is for sale. So that's another challenge people have. Like, I might qualify for a bridge loan, but I can't carry any more than I am right now.
Yeah, sure.
So you do not have to pay those costs and fees until the house sells. And in some cases, Compass will pay for the cost of carrying the existing home at the time.
I mean, there's got to be some limitation. They're not going to do it for 10 years. I mean, how long would that?
No, I mean, obviously it has to be, the house has to be listed with Compass.
Sure.
And generally we'll have like a 6-month or a year listing. And we determine that the house is saleable and it's priced right. And we'll work with people. I mean, we're coming into a funny market, so it might take longer.
Yeah. So what happens if it doesn't sell in a year? Can the seller say, gee, I just don't want to list it anymore?
Yeah.
Wow. I mean, what happens to Compass and the money they put out?
I don't know. But and maybe it becomes a lien on the house. But I mean, there's not a lot of incentive. Only sellers that are motivated are going to do this.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't even make sense to agree to be in contract to buy a house.
Well, that's true, because they're going to be
Sure.
buying the
Be
house.
in
Yeah.
contract with a loan where there's fees accruing and points perhaps too.
Yeah, and I think it's up to the realtor to really understand the scenario with this listing or with the seller too, because we look at every deal, especially a bridge loan that comes to us, along this kind of same reasons. We don't want the borrower to be in the loan for, by definition, a bridge loan is written for a year or less.
Yeah.
But sometimes people take a little bit longer. But if they're it's the realtor's job to say, can this home sell within the next year? Obviously, in a changing market, it's a little harder to predict.
Well, the
But
price is
that's
right.
Yeah, but so the realtor's looking to make sure it's priced correctly.
Yeah.
The lender is, in our case, Pacific Private Money, we're doing a valuation of the marketplace too and saying, okay, can they exit by selling their home in the next year? And if we don't think they can, we'll say, what, you're going to have to come down in price, and we'll consult with the realtor on that. Or we'll say, listen, we don't think there's a viable exit of our bridge loan within a year. We have longer term products, but ultimately, I think people at Compass are really smart, and they're going to say, we're not going to just greenlight every bridge loan candidate or somebody who's requesting a bridge loan. We're not going to greenlight everyone if we don't think we can exit, out of this listing.
Yeah.
So, we work with Compass a lot on when some of their clients need our bridge loan versus Compass's or other options. And I think that's a great partnership that we can.
And a seller can use anybody they want. They can go to Pacific Private Money.
Yep.
They don't have to be in Marin County. They don't have to be in the Bay Area.
There's got to be some limitations on the charges, fees, interest rate or something.
I don't think there are.
Wow.
I mean, but they would shop it just like any other buyer.
Yeah.
Buyer would shop
Yeah,
it.
that's true, because I mean the seller isn't just going to go, hey, well, if Compass is going to pay for it, because it's going to come out of them eventually.
Yeah.
The proceeds. So.
All right, this is a short segment, so we're going to get to our first commercial break here. Again, random trivia questions. What Tom Cruise movie takes place in the year 2054? All right, that's our trivia question. Call 888-912-1190. Be the first one with the correct answer, first caller with the correct answer. You're going to win that tanning certificate, which is worth over $100. Great stocking stuffer for Christmas. What Tom Cruise movie takes place in the year 2054? Stay with us. The Best of Investing will be right back.
Everybody's mind goes to Back to the Future, but that's not Tom Cruise.
No, that's right.
So really, you know what? Here's the thing: like the whole with the better homes and the other one, the process is so simple. In fact, they say like the seller goes on and does it, but they tell us do not let anyone do it without a signed listing agreement.
Oh, of course.
Because instantly they are approved and instantly they are funded.
Oh.
That's what's so crazy about it.
Yeah.
And no, they're not that picky. I don't want to say that on the air, but they're not.
Yeah.
I mean, if you guys did it, you guys are going to get paid.
Yeah.
We're gonna.
Interesting.
This is an interesting company, this Compass. Yep, it's the same with Concierge.
Yeah. It's all about market share.
It's market share, and we're getting so much more business than we wouldn't have gotten.
Yeah, no.
And there's a losses in any business. They're just not very loss averse.
Yeah.
But like you guys, if you approve people, then the money happens.
Yeah.
I mean, they get paid.
Yeah.
You get paid.
Okay.
Yeah. And we say, obviously, how much do they owe? All that.
Yeah.
But that's how it works.
Huh. Okay. We should chat about that. That's interesting. There's certainly some things we are doing that would be where we could bring listings to Compass.
Yeah.
So,
To me.
do you do East Bay too?
No, it depends where, but probably not.
Do it.
Probably not.
Okay. For Marin though.
But sometimes I
Absolutely, San
co-list.
Francisco. Okay.
Yeah. On the upper end, co-list where two agents, somebody from there and somebody from me, so they get the best of both.
Okay.
Yeah.
Excellent.
What do you want to cover? Do you want to continue on with this?
Yeah.
Or?
I can definitely look at that too.
I mean, I could do
Get
concierge
some
too, and because I don't have much else.
Yeah.
Because
Okay.
we could say, well, how does that work with concierge? It's sort of the same. So.
Yeah.
Well,
I
explain what
can
the concierge is.
squeeze a couple of segments asking you questions about real estate. So
Yeah.
always.
All right.
Yeah.
Welcome back to The Best of Investing. I'm Edward Brown, your host, along with Nam Fon and Patty Cohen. First trivia question was, what Tom Cruise movie takes place in the year 2054?
Was it no, I don't know. Not
Gotta be
Mission
an old one.
Impossible.
No.
No.
It's Edge of Tomorrow?
No, Minority Report.
Oh,
Oh,
yeah, that's
yeah.
right.
Which was really kind of a cool idea until they got those stupid cog things in the bogs, and
Yeah.
it was kind of
The
weird.
people lying in the pool.
Yeah,
Well,
that's
that's
what
too
was weird. They
techy
could have
and
just kind of
complicated.
done something like the whole idea of you get caught before you even do a movie, or a murder. That's
They
kind of
could have just come out with like, we came out with this software.
Yeah.
computer
Yeah,
or
something like
whatever.
that.
Yeah. Just make Tom look good and make it nice and simple and sweet.
And
Because
you know
half the audience is there for that.
In 2054, he'll look the same as he does now.
I know. He
Right?
looks better now.
You know, it's so
Yeah.
funny you mentioned about making Tom Cruise look good. I've been watching reruns of the old Wild Wild West and Robert Conrad.
Oh,
I mean,
yeah.
you know, listen, if you have a guy crush, that's the one to have it
Yeah,
on.
back
You
in
know,
the day.
and, you know, he's made him look really good, you know, in the clothes and getting the girl all the time. And,
Yeah.
Do any other shows or movies?
Baba Black Sheep. He was
Okay.
a he was
Oh,
the main
yeah,
guy
yeah, that's
in,
right.
in that one. So
Yeah,
and I
Wild
think-
Wild West.
he was on 77 Sunset Strip, although that was Ed Burns, but no, Hawaiian Eye was back in the late 50s, I think. Anyway, I'm an old guy. Well, I want to make a quick mention here for this holiday season. We invite you to share the magic as we enliven your heart and send your spirits high. Join us at Transcendence Broadway Holiday Spectacular at Luther Burbank's Center for the Arts in Santa Rosa and Lincoln Theater in Napa Valley. Hilarious, heartwarming holiday celebration features Broadway performers from shows such as Mamma Mia, Beautiful, Wicked, and more. Check them out. Reserve your seats at BroadwayHolidayShow.com.
Sounds
I
really
don't know if you
good.
guys have ever seen the shows that Transcendence Theater does, but it is like as good as Broadway. It really is.
Yeah,
It's
you were
really good.
mentioning that up in Santa Rosa, right?
This was Santa Rosa,
Yeah.
Luther Burbank. Okay, Patty, continue on. You were mentioning off air something about concierge surgery.
Surgery.
Surgery, yeah.
Yes.
Service there. And
Yeah.
a lot of people listening may not know what that is.
Yeah, well, again, back to Compass and the amazing things they're doing in the marketplace. So we're spending about an average of $60,000 a listing to pay for the renovation and the preparation of the listings before they go on the market. So that includes like painting, flooring, minor remodeling, staging, landscaping,
pool. No, I'm just
swimming
kidding.
pool. I mean,
No,
it's
yeah, I got
amazing
one
what
swimming
we're doing. Some crazy things, like in a case where, all of that was happening, but the seller was behind in property taxes, and that was a problem. They took care of that too.
Wow. Okay.
And it used to be a little bit more of a cumbersome process.
Yeah.
Now a seller gets that money in their account, or they get a credit card that they could spend, and it could be for the gardener, the painter, whatever. And
Now, does Compass come up with that money?
yes,
And then what do they charge an interest rate? Or do they...
no,
Did they
They
wow, so the
No.
interest rate
interest
alone.
free, and then they
interest free, no charges, no interest, no fees, ever. And of
Wow.
course, it gets paid back at closing.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So eventually when you sell the house, so they're just, the time value of money they're not really caring about. They just want to, do the commission.
yeah.
Sure.
It's a listing that we might not have gotten, or maybe we did get, or whatever. We
Yeah.
value our clients. We want to help them.
Gotcha.
And here's where it really comes in, where let's say it's an estate, the parents pass away, the parents, like that generation never did a thing to their house, and the
Yeah.
place is, and we know sometimes we get a 300% return on investment from the
Yeah.
work that we put in.
Kitchen.
It's
pretty
bathroom,
amazing.
something, yeah.
But you've got like 5 siblings that inherited this house, and mom just died, and the place is like 1950s.
Yeah.
Right.
So here's a way, and nobody can agree, should we do this or shouldn't we?
Yeah.
Here's a way of doing it.
Yeah. The number of people, the people in that situation, essentially boomers you're talking about, in California, in 11 of the major metros, there's like a combined 352,000 people who have lived in their home for 15 to 30 years and have 70% equity.
Wow.
And so these homes have not been updated.
Yeah.
So there's a huge movement where companies like Compass or the Zillow, who shall not be named, Harry Potter. No.
Yeah.
Zillow's doing that, and there's a lot of companies who are going into the market saying, "Hey, listen, we're going to help people get unstuck out of these situations where
Uh-huh.
they want to move down or move up." I think Edward knows the move up number, the number of people in California who have been in their home 5 to 9 years, and
70,000? I can't
Yes.
remember now.
387,000.
387. I got that right
Yeah.
last time.
These are
50%
what?
equity.
People that are
These are
the
move
move
up.
up, the move up buyers.
Yeah,
Yeah.
50% equity, 5 to 9 years in their home, and are likely candidates
That
to
makes sense.
buy the next home.
Mhm.
I mean, between the two, that's a huge number.
Yeah.
Where companies like Compass, Pacific Private Money, working with Compass or other real estate companies and lenders, can really help people get unstuck.
Yeah.
get that
And
next
part of-
home first.
Yeah, I mean, and like sometimes you don't have to do anything, but it's money. If you can get a
Right.
300 return investment, just do it. And why is this so important right now? Well, number one, everybody's been watching HGTV
Oh,
for
yeah,
the past
sure.
15, 20 years,
Right.
so it's important to do that. Number two, the biggest buyer pool, at least around this
Millennials.
outside of San Francisco, is millennials.
Yeah.
And they don't have the bandwidth
Mhm.
or the
They want
knowledge.
a turnkey house.
They are working so hard, and they're competing, and they're not interested in doing any of this, and they don't know what they're doing.
Right.
So that's over. And then the second biggest is boomers, the empty nesters.
Mhm.
They're done. They're not interested in going in a house, starting hammering
Right.
nails and remodeling.
Right.
They're done.
It's like the millennials. It's like, didn't Dad ever teach you how to swing a hammer or change a tire?
Nope.
You know, I actually
Yeah.
taught my son how to change a tire. And his girlfriend was very impressed.
How long
with me
ago
doing
was
it.
that?
Oh gosh, I think I did it when he was about 16, 17 years
Okay.
old.
Well, that's-
Yeah.
But do they listen? They're I feel like
he
half the
did.
time they're just like,
he
yeah,
actually
okay,
changed the tire because
that's
the
good.
AAA was like too far away or something. Yeah.
It's very, very good.
But
Simple
you're right.
stuff. you
These
know?
days, if you want to list your home, you almost have to have it turnkey
Mhm.
to be at a level playing field with the other listings out
Yes.
there. So
And
many-
staging is kind of a new business.
Yeah.
You know,
Oh,
and
okay.
here's the other thing. 10 years, a kitchen that was done 10 years ago can be dated. I mean,
Yeah.
I show some great houses. I think they're fine. People are like, oh God, we're going to have to rip everything apart. That's how it is in the Bay Area.
wow.
That's why
So
I stick with the white.
white. But
Yeah.
white's going out because everybody has to make money. Well, the brown cabinets are going to come back because everybody has to make money. The designers and cabinet people. That's-
That's the
They
thing.
need
Is
to
these
create
people,
the buzz around
yeah,
it.
Yeah.
exactly. It's it's all the like who invented the idea of if you buy an engagement ring, it's supposed to be like 1 month's salary.
Right.
I know.
You know
What's
who did
the
that.
beers did that?
Yeah.
It's like come on, man.
Yeah. Exactly. And look at women's fashions. Why do we need like 1,500 shoes?
Yeah.
Things
Yeah.
are going out.
Yeah.
And they're not coming back for about 30 years. By that time, you shouldn't be wearing them.
Good point.
Yeah.
I'm still wearing my Beatles shirts. Okay. Second trivia question: who wrote the book Moby Dick? That's our trivia question. Call 888-912-1190. First caller with the correct answer is going to win that tanning certificate. Who wrote Moby Dick? All right, and when we get back, we've got a couple of email questions for each of you. All right, so stay with us. The
It's like
best of
Christmas.
investing. We'll be right back.
All right.
When we get back,
Do it all the talking.
I can
here.
talk about staging a little bit.
Yeah.
I went to NAR convention, and there was some interesting companies there.
We could bring a stager on. Remember my friend Kathleen
Yeah.
Almost, because she's a stager.
Yeah.
Yeah,
She
she could
needs
bring
to
her
come on.
Yeah, she's funny. We'll
Do you-
get her.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, I can talk about staging, and I have an article, Zillow article.
Okay.
Zillow iBuyers.
Mm.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting to see what's going to happen with the iBuyers.
It's not big in the Bay Area.
No.
Yeah, just because the home prices are too high.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, no one wants to spend
there's
$1
companies
million on it.
who are increasing their buy price now
Well,
in Southern
think of it this way,
California.
like
Really?
for sale by owners. Why are there so? You would think with the high prices here, there would be more for sale by owners. It's very small. People, and it's
No,
more
you
small
know
over the
what?
country.
So this kid people don't want to have too busy.
Because they don't live the real estate market. So when they come out and list, it's almost like they came out from under a rock.
Yeah.
And they have these ideas, these notions about what their homes value is. That it's totally emotional decision, and it's never about the
I wonder how many FISBOs end up hiring a listing agent.
We
Many.
can talk about a lot.
Yeah.
We can talk about
I mean,
FISBOs.
I don't cut my own hair. I don't make my own clothes. Like,
I'll
Send
bring
you
up the
one else.
FISBO thing if
Okay.
if it makes.
And the trivia, let's see here, email questions for Nam. How are you able to fund loans so quickly, as I've heard you mention on this show in the past?
good one.
And Patty, is there an advantage to going with a bigger firm rather than a smaller brokerage
Yeah.
firm? Is that right?
You're sure?
Yes. Here we go. Oh, welcome back to the Best of Investing one more time. I'm Edward Brown, your host, along with Patty Cohen and Nam Phan. Second trivia question: who wrote the book Moby Dick?
Silence. Crickets.
Crickets. They call him Flipper. No, I'm just kidding. Herman Melville.
Oh, that's right.
Mm.
Right.
Right.
Okay. Let's see. A couple of emails come in.
Yeah.
Right, let's go with this. Nam, It says, how are you able to fund loans so quickly, as I have heard you mention on the show in the past?
So I'm Nom with Pacific Private Money. We're private lenders offering alternative lending options for people who want to buy homes, generally to primary residents in California. But your question about how do we fund loans so quickly, as private lenders, we're known for, and private lenders in general are known for being able to close on real estate loans pretty quick. For us, it can be very fast. I mean, our fastest close I think was a couple days or 3 days. But essentially, question is maybe twofold. One of them is actually having the capital available to fund, but also being able to, from the time we get a loan scenario, to actually being able to close quickly. The first one, the first one of having available funds, we have a fund. It's the Pacific Private Money Fund, and it's through some liquidity that we maintain on a regular basis. That liquidity allows us to fund deals that have to close quickly. And usually, we are plan B. So when people call us, it's usually at the 11th hour. Plan A, bank financing, oftentimes just fell apart, or they have to, they were in escrow and they had a notice to perform, and so they come to us. Just a lot of different reasons why people need to close very quickly, but the having that liquidity allows us to actually fund quickly. The other part is, from the time we get a loan brought to us to the time we actually close it, when compared to a bank, it's very fast. It can be on average in as little as 2 weeks. And for the listeners here, they may think, well, 2 weeks is a long time, but if you tried getting a bank financing, you'll know that 2 weeks is very fast, or 3 weeks we like. But oftentimes bank financing is 30 to 60-day process. So for us, having available capital, and then just the fact that we can underwrite and close a loan in a matter of weeks is something that we're known for, and private lending is known for in general.
So how do people get hold of you if they need a fast real estate loan?
Yeah, if they need a fast loan, they can give us a call. Best is to call us. That number is 415-883-2150, and what you want to do is ask for one of our underwriters, and they can usually tell you, they're going to ask you a few questions. Why do you need the funds? What's the value of the property? How much do you have down? How long will you need our loan? What's the exit? And what's the story? And we can tell you within 10 minutes if we think it's the loan we could do. Obviously, we have to do our due diligence as a follow-up, but we can generally provide you with an initial response or answer in that first 10 minutes.
Okay, so that's 415-883-2150.
Yes.
You said it so fast, I almost didn't know what it was either. Okay.
I had Go Girl.
Okay, that's
Talking a
right.
little fast.
Give you some
on.
energy. Patty, question comes in and says, is there an advantage to going with a bigger rather than smaller brokerage firm?
Well, I mean, that's a really good question. Think of it this way. Commissions are the same regardless of who you hire. Pretty much.
Yeah.
Pretty much. So why would you not go with a big firm? Right? Because you've got the network of that
Exposure,
agent.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You've got the whole force of the company like Compass, which is the biggest in the Bay Area, all working together. You've got our technology, which is all over social media, all over, and we're constantly advertising. So it makes sense. I mean, but bigger than that though is make sure you get a really experienced agent.
Yeah.
Like, should you go with a really expensive, a person with a very small company or on their own that's been doing it 30 years, or you go with a brand new agent with a big company? You go with an experienced agent first and foremost.
Yep.
But then go with one that's with a big company.
So actually with you, it's the best of both because you're a big company and you're very
There you go.
And also a lot of times big companies have their own in-house counsel.
Yes.
So your ability to get in-house or counsel quickly, the accessibility to that, oftentimes those questions come up and it could be in crunch. Just like, when people call us, it's a fire drill.
Yeah.
And so usually you want to be able to have access to legal counsel.
Yes.
So working, some of the benefits of the big company. And, like you said, the network. I think a lot of companies, they have, where you pitch your listings at an office meeting.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
And oftentimes, somebody else in your office knows somebody who wants to buy that, purchase it.
Yeah, our network is really strong. And even something as simple as branding, like with a Compass sign outside your house versus ABC Joe Schmo Real Estate, how do you want, everything is in the packaging. How do you want to be perceived? How does your property need to look in the marketplace?
How do people get a hold of you?
Well, I'm Patty Cohn, COHN. I'm with Compass, 415-722-4842, and I'm bestmarinagent.com.
Okay, I like that.
This is something we chatted about on the previous show, but Mark and I were at the NAR convention, National Association of Realtors, and a couple of really interesting things we learned there. One is about a staging company idea. It's a startup. But the other one was that NAR passed some legislation or internal about pocket listings and putting some...
Oh, this is a thing now. Yeah.
Yeah. So do you know much about what this, I think the overall idea was that they want to put some limitations in place so that, that, I don't know, I'm supposing home sellers have the opportunity to have maximum exposure. So they're trying to shorten that time frame between when a home is kind of pre-marketed in that pocket listing sense and when it actually goes on the MLS.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's also it's a good thing because it's trying to protect MLS. That's what holds realtors together, really.
Right.
So it's all protecting all of us, but ultimately the sellers should get to choose how they want their property marketed.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, because they may not want people trouncing through their property.
Right.
Yeah.
Well,
but
exactly. There's a lot of reasons, and more than I'd say probably in the last 5 years, maybe more than the prior 30 years combined, there's been more off-market sales.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of people don't understand, what do we mean by off-market? Basically, it means not on MLS.
Mm-hmm.
And there's companies that have started up where they're completely 100% not on MLS trying to sell listings.
Mm-hmm.
And that in a way is contrary to the realtors coming together and the bond that we have and what we offer.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, I mean, if all you're doing is selling off-market, you're limiting exposure.
Mm-hmm.
So is that necessarily getting your seller the right price? I mean, I kind of go between it because I like the idea of the privacy by, not having everyone in the world traipsing through your home and, hey, you can't be here for the next, every weekend, every Sunday for the next 5 weeks.
Well, you got to hope that your realtor knows the market so well that they're going to be exposing it to the right people.
Yeah.
Right.
At the right price.
Well, it's also a way of testing. Are we done?
That's true. Yeah, I'll tell you what, we're going to cut to another commercial break here. Well, last trivia question here is, how many sides does a decagon have? And that's spelled DECAGON. A decagon. For all of us physics people out there. All right, stay with us. You're listening to The Best of Investing. Call 888-912-1190. Be the first caller with the correct answer. You're going to win that Danica certificate. Stay with us. The Best of Investing. We'll be right back.
It's actually a linguistic question. I'm glad I took Latin in college, in high school.
Isn't it more geometry too than physics?
Technically, yeah.
Well,
so you're right.
10.
Yeah.
But that's true. It's not physics. It's more geometry.
I call you out.
You call me out there. You may correct me on the air.
You get to answer that.
Yes.
So maybe we can finish up on the pocket listings things. Is there much to finish up
there's
on?
a little bit to it.
And then I'll talk about something, a staging thing.
Yeah.
And we don't have any more events coming till the end after January, right? Are we going to do more with Steve?
I hope so.
Okay.
How did he
next
do with
year.
all his slides? Well, wasn't he going to be late? What happened that night? I forget. Or he didn't?
Chip was late.
Chip.
Yeah.
No, Chip
was
couldn't make it.
Yeah,
He couldn't make it
so-
that first night. Steve was there, but we were starting later than I think what you thought.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was a
Oh,
bummer.
Yeah.
But did I send you the slides?
He did.
Okay.
I gotta go back. It was on my list and it fell off. Yeah, because I was really interested.
So I'll let you continue on with the.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is our 8:48 segment. Ready?
Yes.
This thing is-
Oh man.
I mean, it's healing, but I can't quite close. Okay, right, here we go.
Yeah, we're done.
Welcome back to The Best of Investing. Edward Brown here, along with Nam Vaughn and Patty Cohen. Third trivia question: how many sides does a decagon have? And Nam corrected me that this is not a physics question; it's more of a geometry question.
But Patty has the answer.
Patty has the answer.
So linguistically, I know that it's 10.
10. That is correct, because the word deck,
Yeah.
right? Like decade.
Yeah.
So a
Very
deck
good.
of cards only has 10 cards.
That's DECK, not
I don't think so,
DECA.
Norm.
Oh, no, that's funny. So the other thing I wanted to talk about when Mark and I went to NAR was the Startup Alley. So I don't want to bore our audience, but essentially the interesting thing was a company that is trying to take on staging. And what they're doing is kind of, they call themselves kind of the Airbnb of staging, where if you own furniture, rather than sell it like at a consignment store, at a garage sale, you can rent it out to stagers. And what they'll do is, if you have nice furniture, like a lot of people in the Bay Area and Marin, whatever, they're updating their furniture. They've got some nice pieces that if they sell at a consignment store, they're getting 50 cents on the dollar. But with this company, what they'll do is, I think they'll pick up your property or your furniture, and they'll store it. And then they have their website allows stagers to go in and choose from different types of furniture.
That's a really neat idea.
And
because we get rid of stuff at 10 cents on the dollar.
So stagers don't have to have their own warehouses.
Yeah.
They can go and on demand choose these different furnitures, and then you get paid as the furniture owner a little portion of that.
When
here's the thing.
when a stager chooses it.
Yeah, when a stager chooses it, and and the sellers,
the stagers generally don't, because they want the new hip stuff. Like I have almost everybody we stage says, "Wow, yeah, I definitely want to stage, and I wonder if the stager wants to buy my stuff." And I'm like, "Do you hear what you're saying? Like your stuff is not good enough for staging your own house. Why would it be good enough for staging somebody else's?"
Well, it depends. It's fun. I've seen staging stuff where it's like they've gotten this old wood type stuff. Not necessarily antique, but depends on
It depends on the house home style, right, and the color schemes and everything else. So I could see some certain types of furniture, and there'll be trends. I'm sure there's trends. But
so if I have furniture and I want to get rid of it, they'll take it away. I don't get paid anything, but they take it away, and then eventually, if somebody needs it for staging, they'll pay a certain amount.
Yeah.
That's really neat. I mean, you basically get rid of the furniture that you wouldn't have to either pay someone to haul off or give it away for free.
Yeah.
Because people, don't pay much for furniture.
There's no aftermarket anymore.
Yeah.
Right.
Because the old, beautiful antique stuff, nobody wants. It's too heavy. It's too big. It's too dark.
Mm-hmm.
And the other stuff is, IKEA and China, trends go so fast, and it's a throwaway economy.
Yeah, which is kind of a shame, because it's such a big, it's environmentally, the amount of waste. But I thought that was a really interesting company.
Yeah.
Just burn it, right? Burn the furniture.
Burn it back there, yeah.
That is really neat.
So
we'll have to talk about that, because every once in a while we give away stuff, and there's. Boy, I wonder what that does to Goodwill.
Or like the consignment stores that carry some of the higher end stuff in Marin.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know.
It has to be so new and current. That's the whole thing with staging.
Yeah.
So
because there's some stuff, like I know my wife has gone to consignment shops for clothing.
Yeah.
And she's given some pretty high end stuff, and they look at it and they go,
no, they won't take it.
Yeah. I mean, it's not high end enough, or
it's not the trend.
That's the analogy. Yeah. And that's the whole thing with staging. You're bringing in the newest and the coolest. So like, why are they getting rid of it?
Yeah. Yeah, that's funny.
And I mean, it depends where it is. Like maybe in some other kind of lower end areas, that might work.
Mm-hmm.
Like, in a tract home, the average price is, $190. That might work.
Right.
Interesting.
Yeah, you're right. I think like iBuyers, it works best in Arizona or where it's really easy to value, and the home prices are low. So
where's the company located?
I think they're a tech company, so I think they're here in the Silicon Valley or in the Bay Area, but their growth and proof of concept would probably be middle America.
Yeah.
Or not middle America, but a little bit higher end, because people who have furniture that they can dispose of that's not totally beaten up, it's not going to be necessily middle America.
True. And then
and also, I mean, it's not really scalable, because it's like you're selling a concept, because the product is huge and unwieldy. So there's warehousing.
That's the point I was going to make. You got to warehouse the stuff.
I know.
Right, but stagers do too, right? Generally, they have to warehouse a lot of their stuff.
So it really is for the stagers, not the consumer who's looking to.
Yeah, I would say it would be something
interesting. It's an interesting concept. It is.
Yeah.
Nom, before we get to a break, we have a couple of minutes. Give us a deal of the week.
deal of the week. Let's see, what do I have? Do I have a deal of the week? I guess I kind of have one. This is a scenario that came to us. This has actually been a little while, one that we had in a fund, and it was self-employed borrower. So, it was really interesting. A lot of self-employed borrowers are really not a fit anymore for conventional financing. Actually, we can get into that a little bit later, but we see a lot of self-employed borrowers who have a hard time documenting, their showing income, or when they do their taxes, they want to pay as little as possible,
Yeah.
so they keep their income as low as possible.
Sure.
But when it comes time for a loan, they want to show that they can afford the payments. So a lot of times they come to us and we look at their scenario a little differently. We have more flexibility, but this was a combination of somebody who is self-employed and construction. So they identified a property that they wanted to do some rehabbing on, and decent FICO scores. 690 was their mid score. They came to us because they needed a loan on a property that they were going to flip. So not a bridge loan, not a ground-up construction loan, but one where they identified a property. They were opportunistic. It was only $370,000, 67% loan to value. So the property value. This property was actually in Ukiah, so North Bay, and they came to us. Number one, because they couldn't get bank financing, and two, it was opportunistic, and they needed to transact
What was
quickly.
the value of the property?
It was $550.
Oh.
So $370,000 loan, which
So they were putting on 180?
around that, yeah.
Wow,
Yeah,
okay.
67% loan to value. I don't think in this one we crossed it with anything else, but
But they were going to improve it.
Yep.
So 550 theoretically would be worth 600,000-700,000.
Yeah.
So your LTV goes down to about 50%.
right, which
Yeah.
when we talk about the fund's weighted LTV of 60%, some of those loans are fix and flip, and some of those loans have been with us for a while, and over the past few years, the home values of these properties have gone up.
Yeah.
So 60% weighted average is the LTV in our loan portfolio is at the time we made the loan.
Yeah.
So our LTV is probably actually closer to 50 or 55
Yeah.
if you take into account appreciation or the improvements that some of these borrowers made for the fix and flip loans that we made.
Very good. And you're actually, the yield has gone up in the
Yeah.
fund a little bit.
Yeah, it's gone up to I think for September it was 7.7, and
Very
October
nice.
numbers will be coming out soon. And actually, it's been a really, really crazy 3 weeks where we've had so many new investors come through and so many existing investors who've added to their fund.
Well, think about it. Where else can you get 7.7%? Now, I know the stock market's been doing pretty well.
Yeah, it's
You
been
know,
doing well,
It's
but
doing very well.
it's
But-
just been really weird because day after day people are just calling in saying, hey, I'd like to add. And some of our listeners are investors. I actually like to pose a question to them, like, why now? It's great because we can use it.
Yeah.
But I'd be curious if there's some common theme
Mm-hmm.
coming through, other than, hey, we're paying 7.7%.
Sure.
What else?
All right.
So,
All right.
Interesting.
Stay with us. The Best of Investing will be right back with some closing comments.
wow, sorry.
No, it's all right. No, it's perfect timing.
What we can talk about next time too is the rules that are going into effect on January 1st for rentals.
Oh, for
Yeah.
rental.
Remember Just Cause?
Yes.
And
But doesn't
what's
apply.
interesting is Gavin Newsom signed the AB 68, I think it is,
Yeah.
for as accessory dwelling unit. And I went down to the city and I asked him, I said, because Santa Fe probably has its own things. He said, well, no, the state supersedes.
Oh yeah.
And so I said, well, I got all this kind of stuff, so we may actually be able to.
You should be
build.
able to do it.
Really?
It's all about parking. They want San Rafael wants them.
Yeah.
I've worked with this a lot. I was the first person in Ross to get one, and that was about 10 years ago. Because there were a lot of lawsuits. The cities were getting sued, and there also was matching funds.
Oh, yeah.
Like, and if the cities didn't have a certain amount of rental units, which were
Well, the thing is, it's not.
6
I
for
mean,
the
is it
town.
Let's
really-
talk about
but it's
those
not
two
a-
things.
Yeah, but it's not a rental unit.
No, it's
an
not.
accessory
Dwelling
dwelling
unit.
unit.
Yeah.
In theory, we could rent it out, but
But you don't have to. It's
don't
a
have
nice
to.
entitlement.
It really
have
is,
it, and I'm
the
very
thing
glad I
is,
have it.
see, we also have that. We're also in the hillsides. Because I asked them about
Hillside
that too.
ordinance.
The hillside slope ordinance, and they said no, state overrides. I'm all, you've just made my Christmas.
Yeah.
In fact, tomorrow I'm going to have the contractor come over because, in fact, we need a new architect. Our other one finally died at 99 years old, I was very inconsiderate of him.
I know, exactly. Wrong timing. But yeah, so, and a lot of times people can't do it because of ceiling height or parking, and you've got both.
Yeah, exactly. That and with the setbacks, and I
You've
mean,
got
you've got
everything.
all the perfect
Got
things.
nothing.
Yeah, I mean, it's funny because when we built the deck, that took a long time to get approved, but we got the permits and all that kind of stuff. We purposefully built it strong enough to be able to support a structure if someday we were allowed to.
Yeah,
Bingo.
yeah, that was smart. Good
Yeah.
Tell
job.
the architect, come on, hang on for one last plan.
Yeah.
Jeez.
Actually, do you know Gary Geeson, the
I was going to ask you who it
contractor?
was. No, oh no.
He's a contractor.
Oh, is
Ed
he?
Hageman was the.
Oh, I remember him
yeah,
from
yeah.
years ago.
Years ago.
What, 99?
Yeah, it's something like that. Because he built he architected I don't know 5,000 homes in
Yeah,
Marin.
yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, and it's I mean just every time you just hear his name. Oh yeah, he did that one, that one, that one, that one.
That's cool.
Yeah, and Gary's a really good contractor, and I'm hoping that he's going to be able to not only fit us in, but suggest an architect because
Yeah.
we have to talk about what we want to do.
So you're going to talk about...
Do we have, how much time do we have? Like,
4 minutes.
okay, well, I can say something about it. Or, yeah.
Yeah, sure. Or ADUs or the...
Well, no,
The rental.
the rental thing is coming
okay,
in.
yeah.
Okay.
And it's very confusing to people. And I'll tell you why once we...
Right. Here we see. Yeah, we've got 4 minutes here, and then we'll have a little bit more time on this guy here because I got to do 56 minutes, and if we go 5, that's it. Well, it's about 10 minutes of da 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 da. Telling jokes.
Okay, we talk about whatever. Okay.
And I got a cute joke. You want to hear my? I'll tell my cute
Yeah.
joke now. Okay, ready? Audience, you're gonna hear this cute joke. I think you maybe know this one. It's nice and clean too.
Uh-huh.
So a gorilla goes into a bar and he orders a martini, and the bartender kind of looks at it kind of strange, like okay, and gives him the martini, and the gorilla slaps down a $20 bill, and the bartender's thinking, I wonder how smart this gorilla is. I mean, he ordered a drink, right? And so he gives him $1. He gives him his drink, and then he gives him $1 change, and then the bartender says, we don't get too many gorillas around here. And he goes, at $19 a drink, I can see why.
That's guy's
That's
smart.
cute.
I like that one.
I know, I was thinking, why is he getting only $1
No,
back?
yeah,
That was a
exactly.
good one.
Let's see,
I
if
was
you catch,
following.
see if you catch it.
Yeah, I didn't see that coming.
That was good. I like that one. Or the other one I just read is kind of funny. It's just like, yeah, I told my 4-year-old about how, don't be embarrassed if you poop in your pants, but he still teases me. All right, here we go. Well, welcome back to the Best of Investing. Edward Brown here, along with Patty Cohen and Nam Phan. This is the last time for today because this is our last segment.
Yeah.
Patty, you want to talk about rental units or rent the rules on
Yeah,
rental?
there's legislation, statewide legislation that's going in January 1st that is very, very confusing. I've heard a couple of different attorneys talk about it, and each of them say, well, that's likely, this particular aspect of it is likely to be challenged in court. But what's most confusing that I think the audience should know is that it probably doesn't affect them because single-family homes and condos are exempt unless it's in the name of a corporation or an LLC. So
Okay, and the average person owns
the
a
average
house.
person
This-
isn't,
this
yeah.
a person.
And
Okay.
if it isn't, just take it out of the LLC.
Gotcha. Okay, and what's the rule? I mean, you said that it
Oh,
was
for
gonna
example,
change.
there's some of it's retroactive back to last
But I mean,
March.
what's the
Oh,
what
well,
is it?
basically, like, for those that are not exempt,
Yeah.
You cannot evict someone without just cause.
The
Just cause
gotcha.
is you need to move back in as an owner.
Wait, you mean I can't evict them and just cause?
Just 'cause?
Just cause?
I know, like, that's how it's always been,
Yeah.
man. But yeah, you have to move back in as an owner. You need to be selling the property, and people are paying attention to this, especially the former tenant.
Oh yeah.
Or you need to be doing some massive remodel, or somebody very close family member is moving back in. That's just cause. Along with that, you can only raise rent 5% a year, and then in successive years, it's even smaller amounts.
What happens if inflation gets to
Too bad.
15,
It's California.
Okay, so again, my big issue with stuff like that is then I get to go to my insurance, I get to go to PG&E, I get to go to everyone in the world and
Yeah.
say, you can't raise whatever price, Mr. Contractor who's going to be a plumber.
Yeah.
No, 5%,
Yeah, I know.
right?
Can you imagine? I
I
know.
mean-
It's the free enterprise system.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I get the fact that they want to, keep, renters to be able to live. I
Mhm.
get that.
It's a crisis,
But
but
You know
still.
what? Not everyone is a slum landlord.
Yeah.
And
Right.
if you want to do the quality of life, just do too much rent control where people, landlords are getting, $400 a month for something that might be worth $4,000 a month,
Yeah.
and things break down.
Right, or if you want more housing, you're just waiting builders,
Yeah,
from
exactly.
building because of some of these unintended consequences of passing.
Yeah.
I mean, look what happens in Belvedere, right? Just because you have a Belvedere address, the contractor almost automatically adds 30% more.
Oh my God, I'm in Ross.
Yeah,
When I
same
give
thing.
directions, I'm like, oh, it's kind of between like San Anselmo and Kenfield, and when I
Tell
give it,
them it's near Barstow, but just give me the right address. Because you look at that and you go, why are you charging me more for just
Mhm.
because I have this address because you think I can afford it? That's crazy.
Yeah.
On the flip side, I used to use suppliers and vendors from
Santa Rosa,
707 or
yeah,
510 area code.
Mhm.
No more of that, because the 707 people, oh my God, they're with the fires.
Oh, right.
yeah,
Don't like
that's
if
right.
you do not have to work on your house,
Don't.
Yeah.
wait several years because
Do 530 area code because that's like Reading.
Yeah.
exactly.
You know what? You get them
Charge.
from Reading and then then just house them for a week in a hotel.
In an ADU.
In an ADU, yeah, that's right.
Well, if you brought them to build you the ADU, then it's kind of chicken before the egg, right? They
Yeah.
don't have an ADU to stay in, so
Yeah.
forget that.
That's where you put a tent.
There you go.
Stay in the tent. I mean, I've heard of
ATU.
ATU. I've heard of some companies they're bringing workers from out of state,
Yeah.
put them up in a hotel.
Mhm.
I mean, it's cheap,
Yeah.
relatively speaking.
Yep.
All right, let's see here. Nom, give out your information one more time because the fund right now is paying a little over 7.7%.
7.7% for September. So if you're interested in investing in the fund, go to www.pacificprivatemoney.com or call us at 415-883-2150.
And Patty, if people want to get information about real estate from a realtor,
Yeah, I work all over the Bay Area, mostly in Marin, and I'm Patty Cohn with Compass, 415-722-4842, residential real estate.
very good. All right, here's our thoughts for the day. And these are a couple of baseball thoughts. I know it's not baseball season, but, I just thought for the end of the World Series and stuff, let's just get our last baseball thoughts in.
Yes.
Talent may get you on the field, but it's effort and attitude that will keep you there.
Nice.
And Leo DeRocher, remember Leo the Lip?
No.
Yeah.
He was for the Brooklyn Dodgers, and actually, I think he played for probably the Brooklyn Robins way back. He said, "Baseball is like church. Many attend, few understand."
That's a good one.
That's kind of true. Okay, tune in next week to The Best of Investing. We're going to be giving away more free prizes for answering trivia questions. Thanks for listening. On behalf of our team, I'm Edward Brown, wishing you the best of investing. So long.
Now, do we have time to kill here or something? Didn't you say? We
Say
have to-
again?
Yeah,
didn't you say
4
we have
minutes.
to kill some time here?
An extra 4
Oh,
minutes.
yeah. What happens is, so this, in order to get it on CMCM TV,
Mhm.
has to run for at least between 56 to 59 minutes.
Mhm.
We've run for 47.6.
Oh, so we got to hang out here.
Well,
yeah. Well,
Okay,
speaking
more
of
fun
time
tips?
to kill, little story.
Okay,
I
go
mean,
ahead.
boys are so different than girls. My son was like 5 years old, and we're actually in Hawaii, and I said, well, looks like we have a little time to kill. He was bored. He was not doing anything. He just perked up. He goes, kill? How do we do it?
Oh my gosh.
Like, such a boy. I'm like,
boy thing.
Caveman.
no, we're not going to kill anything. And it sounded really exciting. So you're not allowed to kill. I was like, oh my God, testosterone. It's just different.
That's
I know.
true.
Girls, it's like, let's cooperate.
Yeah, exactly.
Boys
Exactly.
are, let's destroy.
I know. My stepdaughter, she was in soccer, and she was like, my favorite part is at the end when you got the other team and we all go like this. We slap each other's in a line and we go like that. Like, that's her favorite part of the game.
Well,
That's
it's
so
really
funny.
cute was when Sarah played high school softball. At the end of the year, they always give the seniors like some roses.
Yeah.
And she happened to be the only senior that year, so it was like all about her, which is pretty cool. But it's like, guys don't give each other flowers.
I
at the
know.
end,
No.
you know?
And then the most memorable part was when you got the flowers. It was like, no, that score, that kill.
Yeah,
You know,
exactly.
it's like anyone that says there is no difference in the sexes is crazy.
I know.
Yeah.
I
Or
know,
has never had
that's-
children.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's so ridiculous to think about some of these people, oh yeah, we're going to my 6-year-old decided she wants to be a girl, so we're going to do a sex operation.
Oh my
And
God.
the thing is, I heard
6 years
somewhere
old.
where where did I hear this? Maybe it was just on the radio where they said that, and if the doctor doesn't do it, they can get hit for malpractice.
Wow.
Something
That's
absolutely
getting nutty.
redonkulous for that.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I remember years ago there was a study done of, okay, so why are boys playing with guns and arming little guys? It's because we're giving it to them as parents, or no longer. This was a long time ago.
Yeah.
And why are girls playing with dolls? Because we give it to them. So they're like, let's switch it and give the girls,
Yeah.
boy stuff, and vice versa.
Interesting.
Well, half an hour later, the guy in the lab coat and the mom goes in, and here's this little girl taking a gun and pretending it was the baby.
Yeah.
And you be the mom, I'll be the dad. It's like
he get a little bit of the baby and he drop kicks it.
exactly. It's like it is not because we give him these toys.
No, that's a very good point.
Give her the doll.
Well,
the
it's
boy
because
taking the doll.
the mother would always teach the daughter. Yes,
Yeah.
they're going to keep going back.
That's not it.
But women have a maternal instinct,
Yeah.
and it's interesting. My wife was found out about a study where, the women give the emotional nurturing, but the father is where the kids learn the social interaction.
Interesting.
I thought that was
Wow.
interesting. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
And again, it's not like
Wow.
one is better or you could.
Yeah.
I'm the only one who can teach social. No, it's not like that. It's like, okay, I've got a hand and a foot. They're each equally
Yeah.
important, but they have different roles.
As your roles. Exactly.
Nobody's saying that this one's more important than that,
Yeah.
But that's sort of just.
And it's funny, going like this with a gun.
Yeah.
It's always
All the
like,
time.
I took the doll and I turned its head into, I made a catapult and launched the head.
Yeah.
Well, do you
exactly.
remember the movie Toy Story? Sid,
Oh,
the
yeah.
mean kid,
Yeah.
they take the doll head off and
Yeah.
That's
put
right.
it on the spider thing. And
Exactly.
The
Totally.
guys watching that like, what's wrong with that? No.
I know.
Yeah. That sounds like so cool.
I used to do that too.
No.
No, but yeah, it's
That's funny.
they're just different.
That's cute. Yeah, I like having a daughter. I'm sure I would love having a son too.
Yeah.
If we had a son, but girls are just great. They're just like right now.
Yeah.
Right now.
Now.
Wait till she gets to be
Junior-
16,
Yeah.
Wait till you
Or
don't know anything.
12.
Yeah.
12.
12.
It depends.
Depends.
Sarah at 12 was pretty good. It's
Yeah.
when you hit 17, 18.
Yeah.
All those eye rolls, and they make dads to be like. Remember when like Father Knows Best and all that, and it was like this silly little mom. Now dads, it's been about 30 years on TV. They've just
Yeah.
been annihilated.
Yeah.
Like-
No,
Yeah,
yeah.
that's true.
Yeah, and Reputation, it's kind of like the stupid dad and incompetent and all that.
It seems like kids these days have a lot of. They also seem like they're in some ways seem more fearless.
Mm-hmm.
Because we had a jazz concert at our daughter's middle school,
Mm.
and these kids are there's some really talented kids. Like this girl
Yeah.
singing and playing the
Yeah.
guitar.
Well, because you know what it
Sounds so good.
is
They're just not afraid to be up there.
Yeah.
because
No,
you know
that's
what
true.
the peer pressure of is not there. That it's like, oh, you make a mistake, man, we're gonna hound you and
Yeah.
things like that. But when we were kids, you stepped out of line a little bit
Yeah.
in one way, and you might get beaten up,
I know.
which was terrible.
Right.
You know?
And also, I mean, they're teaching in the schools, which is really good.
Yeah.
Kindness, compassion.
Absolutely.
And before, like if someone was ADD or slightly off
Yeah.
or special needs, it would be like, you're bad.
Yeah.
You're
Yeah.
stupid.
Right.
Sarah went to a good school for elementary / middle school, and they were really good about listen, as soon as they start seeing problems, because a lot of girls, man, it's amazing how catty they get.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They
Oh,
got
very.
right in there, and it's like, we're gonna have a sit down. We're all gonna talk about it.
Yeah.
And I think they were all definitely
Yeah.
better for it.
Yeah.
And also like racism and ethnicity and all that, there's zero
Yeah.
tolerance for anything. I mean, my son, he's 21, but I mean, if I even mention like somebody is of that race or whatever, he's like, sounds kind of like you're prejudiced. I'm like, I'm just
Yeah,
mentioning
well,
it.
you're mentioning
There was a
it's-
reason
listen,
to mention
if there's 100 black people and there's one white person,
Yeah.
and you go, oh, the white guy over there,
Exactly.
it's
I think it's more racist not to like protect. I don't see color.
yeah,
know?
exactly. You're not making a judgment
Yeah.
against it. You're just making a statement.
Yeah.
you know?
And sometimes it has something to do with the story, but you're still not allowed to say it.
Yeah. That's when it's overreach.
Yeah.
It's funny
So-
because I do the sports show, and Vern Glenn is my
Oh, yeah.
right, and Vern's a great guy,
Yeah.
and there's no color. I mean, he'll kind of kid around sometimes
Yeah.
with stuff, but there's no. Everyone's on equal footing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
it's a non-issue.
You would be like more, in my mind, you would be more prejudiced if you were awkward and dancing on eggshells around here.
Well,
Around him.
do you
Yeah.
remember All in the Family?
Yeah.
There was an episode where Mike Stivic, who was always, if you remember, Meathead, right?
Meathead.
He was always like Mr. Liberal and all this stuff. And God, I can't remember the neighbor's kid, Jefferson,
I can't remember him
kid.
either. Yeah.
Lionel, that was his name. And every time Mike would talk to him, it would be like, yeah, and then there's this black blah blah blah, and civil rights blah blah, and Lionel, he was just a person,
Yeah.
and he would say, Mike, why don't you just talk to me like a person? Why is it every time you meet with me, it always has to be the black thing or this or that? He goes, well, what do you want to talk about? The weather? He goes, sometimes, yeah.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, let's just make it a non.
Yeah.
That was a learned teaching moment. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because Archie was the epitome of prejudice. You know what's so strange? Like Archie Bunker was 46 years old.
Really?
Didn't he seem like he was like
Oh my
70?
gosh.
I mean,
yes.
granted, we were younger,
Yeah.
so
Right.
Yeah.
35
But no,
was
but
it.
he definitely
I
seemed.
can totally picture him.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm like, gosh, he would not
Yeah.
46.
Yeah.
No,
I mean,
I really that does surprise me.
yeah.
Carol O'Connor was only 46
Yeah,
years old.
in those days.
So,
And
wow,
I'm sure
yeah.
she was the same. Yeah. I mean, it's because we were younger, but still, no.
Yeah,
Anyway,
but 46 was like then is today's 60.
Well, yeah,
Yeah.
he wasn't
Yeah.
in very good
and now
shape.
60s,
So.
and in our juvenile minds, like 60's the new 40.
Yeah.
Really?
And yeah, because I'm going to be 60.
60's
in
the new
January.
60.
Yeah.
Sorry.
No.
60's the
Mark's
new
birthday.
60.
All right, let's say
that's
goodbye.
unreal.